back areas of the map. So I like what Supermassive have here. I think they've got a really solid comp, but it's definite risk. There's some reward level to it from SK Gaming with the Mortis, but it's a big risk.
And I think a lot of us still operate with the mindset of, hey man, it's Mortis. You know, this is this RZM on the Mortis trying to farm up clips for the new compilation? No, he's actually pretty good with the hypercharge. It's a matter of getting there, of course. Okay, interesting, really timid approach from PAPARA Supermassive, all waiting in these bushes. Joker, of course, waiting for the same. Sort of like an antlion in its pit on the left side, just waiting for anyone to approach so that he can get that first level for free without the risk of feeding anyone.
Yeah, I was going to say, if they wait any longer, OP's just going to be able to swoop in and take like 4 gems off the opponent's side with no worries. But they did eventually go in and get them, and it's 3-3. No engagements so far, just a few taps here and there. And now we see SK bounce into action, start to move into the opponent's bushes. And Filippo's so low, and in comes OPE, really going to punish them here. But Joker kind of in the defensive lines of Supermassive, trying to get forwards, but great stuff so far from SK Gaming, and how patient it was. You were kind of expecting the team who were going to benefit the most of the Supermassive off that, but it really didn't go that way.
Ope taken down on the aggressive in the back left. It's actually kind of tough for him to chew through this Juju. Note also that Yoshi is running boosted booster here. Not really necessary for him to run plugged in for the extra speed, since he doesn't have a mid matchup against a Piper or something where he actually needs that. So he gets to have 50% damage boost from this turret. Same for Joker, who's now operating at level 3. OPE in with a couple of kills. Tomzy, the last one alive, and Ope takes him down, also staggering the respawn. 10 seconds left for PAPARA Supermassive to get to SK Gaming spawn, and it just does not look possible. SK locked this down. There was not a chance of PAPARA getting mid-control, it seemed.
Yeah, that was quite a worrying display from Supermassive there, but I'm intrigued to see what happens when we actually have Brawl Stars gameplay instead of them just waiting for the first portion of the map and SK wiping Supermassive off the map. If they actually engage at the start, maybe the game will go a little bit differently. Maybe it'll go more SK's way, who knows. But I'm sure we'll find out how that's going to be, because I don't think Supermassive are going to stand around and wait again when it's just ended like that.
It's a matter of waiting for your opponent to make the first move, hoping they make the first mistake. That didn't work. Now they're going to completely change strategy. Filippo getting aggro in the mid. Tomzy and Salty try to approach on the left, doubling up the lane, but it's no use into Ope, who's also circling around the obstacle, keeping out of the way, but Filippo takes him down. Joker in a vulnerable position. He does get a second level, which will be very useful. It would have been better if he could have gotten another super for the next life. That way he would have had extra range. Yoshi on the right side's having a tough time into Tomzy, thankfully. Ope swooping in, kind of aiming into that obstacle over there. Couldn't find his comfortable position, and SK Gaming for now have been locked into spawn, facing 8 gems on the other side.
Yeah, some good positioning now for Supermassive, but round the backside is going to be Tomzy, and Joker managed to pick him up as well, and there goes the Nita too. Salty falls down, and now the positioning is all in SK's favor, but it is 8-1. If they can get a kill, maybe break out, they will have a chance. But until then, SK Gaming going to be firmly in control, and OPE with an overextension and a half there. Joker falling low, and now Supermassive should be able to grab this last gem, as the next one spawns on their side.
This is a nice draft for breaking out of spawn. Tomzy in particular has been instrumental in getting out of that trap. We'll see the hypercharge from Joker on the right side. Takes down one, looking for more. Gonna have to press in. Ope's waiting for a good opportunity. Also has that super that'll keep him alive, but Salty could also use a super. Hypercharge Bear comes down on the left side. Still, he falls. On the right side, interruption. Filippo's trying to get out of there. Thankfully has a hypercharge, but deposits all the gems on the backside. Now Tomzy is sitting here with 10 gems. He's as safe as can be. SK Gaming are preparing for one final push in.
As the hypercharge really couldn't have come at a better time. Filippo there, and a bear rolling on in. Going to use the stun and advance as well, just in case the Mortis dash towards it. But Joker level 4 not going to find anything just yet. And now we find out what happens when they actually play against each other instead of waiting. And it results in a Supermassive win.
It looked pretty drastic at first, though. It looked like SK were going to lock things out. They got up to, what, 7, 8 gems before we actually saw a move from PAPARA Supermassive. And then PAPARA, they were able to break out of the spawn trap quite well, too. Not something that we could have asked of SK, where they sort of seem to flounder. Even Ope, with all of the movement in the world, his attack literally moves him, could not get out of that spawn trap. We see a different setup this time. Filippo, not even taking mid, instead deciding to encircle on the right, allowing Tomzy and Salty to close in from the left. It's a bunch of damage on a Yoshi. and it's an opportunity for Tomsy to start cycling out his super. And look at Joker, sort of pinned here on the right side. Got 2 shots off though, that's valuable. He's got his super cycled out. Filippo taken down by Ope, but it's no worry, Salty has the gems.
It's a valuable trade there as well, as Grigri does get the kill and slows down Yoshi here. A couple more shots for Salty to get a bit more super feed. And OP just threatening around that left-hand side, forcing Salty back into his own half of the map. But it's 7-0. And Joker, once this gadget runs out, won't have the level 3 or the range to be able to fight at this long-range matchup.
Yoshi's got this turret now. It means more pressure for him and Joker, but Joker is lacking the level 3. He gets it for free with the use of a gadget, but it's his last one. He's got to make it count. Tomsy's just camping around this obstacle, keeping him at bay. Meanwhile, Ope in the top left goes for 1, gets it, stunned by the bear. Gems deposited next to Salty. That's 2 more for PAPARA Supermassive to start a countdown.
Tomsy just pop a shield and take a head-to-head matchup versus Joker. He does get level 3, and OP flanking around this left-hand side, has a super in hand as well. All of them kind of going towards it. Close up, he dashes a wall a couple of times, really unfortunate, and now he will go down. Hypercharge Bear and Grigri coming forward. That's going to be a lot of damage and might result in him getting a couple more gems. Gadget was used, but nothing from it. Now the Hypercharge from Filippo on this left-hand side wants a head-on-head matchup against OP, but he's not going to be given it.
No chance for Papara Supermassive to get gems number 8 and 10. Excuse me, 9 and 10 either, but Filippo has managed to snag them from mid. He's headed all the way home. SK Gaming do have some utility. Ope has that hypercharge that can be game-changing. Same for Joker, closing in from the right, trying to split the shots on a Filippo, interrupts the countdown. Thankfully, Nita's got him. That's 10 on her. Yoshi, nowhere to teleport to you. Thankfully, Ope swoops them up. It's a chance to interrupt the countdown. Just need 1 more gem. Stun on the Joker. A jump to the sky, but all of those gems clatter to the ground. Papara Supermassive run away with 19, and that's the game they need to win set number 1.
I mean, that was just absolutely phenomenal stuff there from Supermassive to come back. And as I said, after the first game, engage, see what happens. Don't wait around, and that's exactly what they did. They came at them 2 games in a row and managed to take this first set. And, even just that first set, massive, massive surprise to see SK dropping games like this. And they didn't look in control at all, really. It was a very scrappy game, don't get me wrong, of people just following other people around. But Supermassive come away with the set, and that is a huge thing for them to win.
Yeah, I've got to wonder about the communication that we saw on PAPARA Supermassive. Just some great timings. Filippo popping in to pick up those gems out of the middle, pinning SK Gaming into the corners. Just really great play out of PAPARA Supermassive here. But what would you shout out as the biggest, Reddy?
I mean, I gotta talk about getting out of the spawn trap. I think also they got outplayed by SK a few times. There were moments where there were gems that were ready for the taking, but SK swooped in with the 8-bit that teleported right back out. I gotta congratulate PAPARA Supermassive for pretty much the composure, for the posture that they mustered here. Because we've seen what happens when you exercise too much restraint. There is definitely a sweet spot right there. And I think they hit that against a team that it has to be so difficult to keep your cool against SK.
Yeah, Trav, you talked a little bit about control going now into Ring of Fire. Do you think it's going to be another area where they're going to be able to get control again as SK Gaming and really re-exert their, I don't want to say superiority, but re-exert their status as just an incredible team here that was favored to win? Or is this another one of our shakeups for our Titans?
I mean, I think in reality, heading into every set, I'm probably going to say SK should win it, because they should. Like, they are the better team at the moment, Both of them come through the qualifying upper bracket, but if you look at SK Gaming's players, you're always siding with them, no matter what, against the majority of teams in the EMEA region. So it's quite difficult for them to be able to bounce back after a pretty disappointing loss in set number 1, but Supermassive needs to carry this this momentum that they've got forwards now into this next set and try take 2, and that'll really rattle SK.
I think the scales are a little unbalanced as well, because if you're PAPARA Supermassive right here, you're not a team that has really made it to the World Finals before, not as decorated as SK. So then what is your goal? What is the next step up for you? And I think the logical step is, hey, let's just take this one match at a time. Let's get our quarterfinals win. In fact, if we look at the Pirates in particular, last year they made a couple of monthly finals. That is this squad, by the way. This is Pirates, but now with an org. They made top 8 2 times in monthly finals, both times shut down by Humble in the first round. Now they got to go up against another big bad of the EMEA region, and there is no doubt in my mind that their scope is limited to just this one match. For SK, they're going for gold, man. So that's why I say the scales are just not balanced here. The preparation is not the same.
Ooh. Poco first. I mean, that's surprising to see. Don't get me wrong, they have banned out Berry, so that's kind of the other capable healer. But we see a Draco roll on in for Supermassive, and that's going to be decent into the Poco. Takes it away from them as well, because that might have been one of the things that they want to go towards. Lola, you know, when using the star power, you're going to be able to heal yourself and heal others on your team as well. So it's a pretty valuable pick, and has the range, obviously, as well, to be able to do good amounts without taking too much damage in a map like Ring of Fire. And especially when you see Poco, you're not really expecting other things with too much range. Maybe one thing and then one thing that's going to be a bit more aggressive. But I like what Supermassive have got so far.
Gonna sound like a broken record here. B, so good into Poco, Ring of Fire, wide open map. And since PAPARA Supermassive didn't go for it, it might mandate SK to go for it. There we go. It's a little tough, right? Because B, in close range, she can't do much to defend against herself. She sort of dies to stupid stuff. She doesn't really have much health. And so she can be a liability. But with this B selected, yep, it's just the logical follow-up. You go the Poco, the Frank, the B. We've called it out several times, and there are a few different flavors of this. You know, maybe the ice cream flavor, get some berry in there. Now Supermassive, though, they're going to have to find an anti-tank that's also able to deal with this B. If they're able to establish a good presence on this point, then they might not need to worry about it, given that a brawler like B, for instance, can't really step on the point too reliably. Mortis. Okay. And let's double check. Did we see that melody banned? Because previously, yeah, it's banned. Previously, the answer to this was get the melody and isolate the lifeline, the Poco. Get it out of here.
I mean, it looks like we're probably going to see the Mortis, as you say, targeting the Poco, targeting the B, the same as a Melody would. Just a little bit less effective, I will say, in this meta, but, you know, you can still make those plays. You've just got to be a little bit more skillful, a little bit more aware, and pick your moment that bit better, because Melody, you're going to be able to do quite a lot, no matter who you dive into, but Mortis, a lot of the time you can get eradicated pretty fast if you're not careful.
Probably going to be Ope piloting this brawler again if the last set is anything to go by. Could see a shakeup. So who is going to be on the Mortis? Oh, rather, it is Filippo. Got my sides mixed up. Nonetheless, Filippo taken down immediately by Ope there on the left side, and the heals are already out. PAPARA Supermassive forced off this point by Joker with a takedown on Salty.
Well, Tomsy just waiting for his moment to come around this back, and OP using the super now does predict where he's going to go as well, gets the stun and gets him down. Swooping in is Filippo, but he's not going to get a lot from it. He needs to build up that super, and I believe he just did. So Salty, Tomsy might wait for him to come back up, and they do just that. Should be able to mount a decent attack now, and we'll see if it's going to work, because if it, oh my, the Rattle Tide just absolutely bombs Filippo down, and he is sent straight back to spawn.
Tomsy also getting sucked in on the left side. Ope can't get the kill, though. That gadget lasted way too long. Filippo now taking down Yoshi. It's going to be the last to respawn, which is going to hurt Ope a little bit. He's still able to come in with the hypercharge. Filippo managed to take him down with the help of Salty. Stays alive thanks to the healing. Yoshi, though, has the hypercharge and the super to keep everyone alive. There's a shield coming down. Ope with the kill. SK Gaming now, as a unified unit, storm the point and then taking back control.
Yeah, OP just going to use the super on Tomsy. He misses it this time, and Poco's not going to be able to give enough heals. Gadget used by Tomsy, but Filippo's backing out instead of going in with the super. Joker's going to go down as Yoshi uses the super for attack instead of heals. Might be the right way to go about it, though, because now he's got that backline down. Poco coming around. OP predicts that he's going to go through and gets the kill. Tomsy moving in, but hypercharged super from OP is going to clean this game up. 5% needed, and SK Gaming will do it.
We saw the Draco into the Frank earlier, and the Draco actually beat the Frank, but there's a key difference here, which is that Draco actually had support, okay? He was getting berry sugar over there, but now it's Mortis to try and isolate things in the Lola. And Lola actually did help him out, taking down a hypercharged Frank before he was able to actually impact the ground with the super, but you're not keeping that Draco alive, which is a pretty big issue for PAPARA Supermassive to overcome here.
Filippo gets that kill, starts off strong, but OP's going to return the favor. Tomsy trying to get around the backside. He is going to get the kill no matter what. Salty helps him out. Does take a little bit of a hit from that B gadget, though, and chooses to go around the flank once more. Rattle Tide used again, and Tomsy just rattling this backline time and time again. Gadget's going to keep him alive for a while, but not going to stay alive as all three members of SK were there to get him down.
Salty ready with another super to put down in front of him, keep him safe against Joker. Yoshi not going to be able to do too much against it either. Okay, he goes down. Ope out with the hypercharge. Filippo heals some, but it doesn't really make that much impact. Tomsy, though, spraying everyone with the fire. Yoshi, Joker, Ope know that they can't really approach. Ope, though, he's playing with fire, man. He was getting up close and in range. Now taking an opportunity to heal as they have conceded this push. I guess just going for the remainder of the wall break. Didn't want to deal with that anymore, having the entryway to the mid blocked off on the left side. PAPARA Supermassive have control for now, but that could very well change with this Poco Hypercharge in.
I mean, Hypercharge really didn't do too much, didn't provide a shield to OP at all because he missed that. Filippo goes in for the super, gets one, sends out two, gets another as well. Beautiful stuff from him. Only Yoshi alive, but he sent out so many supers and has Hypercharge in the bag as well to try and do it again. Gonna go for it now, gets more, sends it out again. He just can't be stopped. Brilliance from Filippo over the right-hand side and just returns back to the safety of the bush.
Mortis is out here breaking ankles today. The matchup into Frank, that is a mind game right there. Frank trying to predict the position that Mortis is going to dash to, and Filippo is just never there. Teleporting around him practically. Excellently executed. Man, we are in for a close match if this is the sort of pace we're getting off to in just set number 2.
Well, crazy stuff. From Supermassive to bounce back, we might be seeing a 2-0 to them. And Filippo dashing forwards, taking OP by surprise. Now we'll use the gadget, trying to get some work done, wants to get a super. But Salty putting up so much work in this mid, 10% has hit. And Joker not finding the shots he once was, eventually does now though. And that will bring him down. Tomsy uses the gadget in the back lines, but all still so healthy. Filippo just going to accept death again. Oh, actually he sends out a super. I thought he was just going to wait for another time, wait for another spawn, and come back stronger.
Slow in from Joker, doesn't hit anyone. See the tuning work out from Yoshi as they await the next push in. Ope now finally getting to go aggro for the first time, pulls in Tomsy, but ends up getting the heat on the back end. See Filippo lurking, trying to bait out that charge shot from Joker, ends up just getting hit by it anyway. A very disjointed offense from PAPARA Supermassive. They've been completely scattered, even though what they've been trying to do is encircle their opponent. SK Gaming now at a pretty much unbeatable percentage, now nearing 80%. Filippo going in solo, no support at all. It's looking hopeless for PAPARA.
Yeah, much better from SK Gaming. 15% needed, and this surely going to be the set unless Filippo can team wipe them over and over and over again like he had in the last one. But even then, they're stepping foot on the zone for at least 3%, and SK Gaming do make it happen. 1-1 in sets, but Supermassive still looking good.
Strong finish for SK, even though they faltered in the middle, and I can picture the comms not looking too confident right now. When you are shown that you are capable of bleeding, I mean, you go through the entire qualifier, don't even drop a set, you come into this, and PAPARA Supermassive is tripping you up. They get a set off of you to boot, and they almost get a second one. That's dangerous. That is a very uncomfortable position for SK Gaming, who, as I will reiterate, had their sights set on the grand finals here and are running into obstacles at the very first step.
Not only that, PAPARA Supermassive is padding their frag videos here with some excellent kills that really had to be individually, I wonder, a little demoralizing. You saw SK on the cams there after that. You gotta wonder, what are the calls over there? Who is their in-game leader, and what do you think he's kind of saying to them right now, Trev?
I mean, I think the in-game leader for SK Gaming is probably Joker. I mean, that is what lines up, in my mind, as the correct way to think about it. But the thing is, we've seen so many teams winning games, winning entire series, and looking disappointed. Like, because they expect to do better. We saw Heretics, you know, they don't expect to go 3-2 against Kazaki, and the same with another one of our games in Foot Esports as well. They win the games and look disappointed because they know they should be doing better, and that's exactly what SK are doing here. They know, with their skill, and in the matchup they're in, they should be 2-0 up. There's no doubt about it. They should probably be sweeping Supermassive with how good they've been at the moment, but it's just not the case, and that's going to take a little bit of a toll on them. But also, you know, them being angry might also, you know, help them forwards and make sure that they don't drop any more sets that they shouldn't be dropping. But we are heading on to Triple Dribble by the looks of things in Brawl already.
Okay, let's talk about this. Triple Dribble used to be an asymmetrical map, and now it is quite symmetrical. There used to be some like weird dynamics that you had here with throwers and which lane do you put them on, where do you spawn. Throwers are still good here. It's just a more balanced map now across the way. So let's talk about some of the brawlers that have been banned out here. Throwers, of course, banned out. Maisie, first pick. Okay, taking one out of the NA playbook because this is like a must first pick just in North America. But here, where you do have the opportunity to use some longer range brawlers on a couple of these side lanes, and also anti-tanks being so important in a Brawl Ball as a mode, I think it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, the Maisie is a really strong pick on this. We've seen it overwhelmed a few times, I will say, by throwers and by, Melody and stuff, which obviously is banned out. Same for Larry and Laurie banned out, Juju banned out, Berry still more than ready to be taken though, which does worry me a little bit. Stu going to be there for SK Gaming for their first pick. And yeah, having this Berry available always makes me a bit scared on a map like this when other throwers are banned out too.
Oof. And a chance also for like any other sort of viable thrower here, something like a Barley, would have a tough time into the Stu. Nita practically asking to get Barleyed into, so maybe something that PAPARA Supermassive will consider. SK Gaming, how are they shaping up for this final selection? I'm seeing a composition that would work pretty well with Frank, just in the sense that they've picked up a couple things. Stu keeps his distance from Frank, and also Nita should be getting the Hypercharge Bears off of Frank, so could be getting prepared for that. PAPARA Supermassive with an anti-tank of their own in the 4-5 selections right here might be wanting to... that's a Barry Frank.
What's that noise?
It's a boogeyman, man.
It's my exact response to Barry Frank.
Well, it's like the earthquake before the tsunami. Pretty much is the Barry before the Frank comes in.
Yeah, I mean, that is a dangerous thing. It's kind of the humble special, and it's something that they've been playing for so long. Primo, though, as the answer from SK Gaming. They're going wild. They're taking the Primo and hoping that that's going to be enough to deal with the Frank, even when getting all these heals from the Berry. They do have a Maisie, though. Gonna have to be careful. That's a decent tank counter. Gonna be able to knock back, keep people away, and at arm's length with her range as well. So, although they do have good counters into what PAPARA Supermassive have got, I still do like the Berry Frank combo no matter what. It's always got a chance.
It's just good everywhere. And even when you're holding one position, you're not walking forward trying to score a goal here in Brawl Ball. Barry's going to be getting so much value. Charging the super, charging the hypercharge alongside the super can be a goal-scoring condition. You have such superior movement as well. So let's see what PAPARA Supermassive can make of the Frank and Barry composition. Tomsy seems to be operating at pretty low ammo, might not be able to defend himself in close range against Ope. Cycles out the super, gets the kill, and it's a thrower versus Nita. I think I know how this one goes, but Tomsy is lacking in terms of reload speed, so he's not going to be able to do this alone.
Yeah, just choosing to throw out a few puddles, keep them back for now, and Primo on the left-hand side, probably wanting to try and make a play, might be close to another super if he's getting hit. And that's his exact positioning that he's putting himself into, now setting himself up for greatness. Hypercharge ready to go for Tomsy. Oh, dashes through it though, through the ball. Both of them just swoop straight past it. And Ope will grab that and take a free goal any day of the week.
I think PAPARA Supermassive did that to themselves, but now they're going to get their revenge. Hypercharge in for the speed. Hypercharge out from Tomsy for the additional healing. Filippo walks it in like it was no issue at all. But SK Gaming are equipped with their own util now. Here comes the Hypercharge in from Joker. Double popped by Yoshi and Ope. They're going for the team wipe. A pass up to Ope. Now down to Joker. Super in the back left corner. And a game for SK.
Yeah, really nice stuff from SK. As you said, I think Supermassive kind of shot themselves in the foot there. Just both of them dashing straight past the ball. I mean, you've kind of got to put up a bit of a fight against the Primo. I imagine the Maisie was trying to stun it out when he landed and stop him from getting that shot off. But a little bit of a missed time, in my opinion, and no one was there to catch the ball. And I think it probably would have been a goal regardless with Primo just walking that on in. But OP trying to go for more of the same. Does get cut a little bit short this time. And a super missed by Filippo. That's going to be very disappointing for him.
That hurts. Tomsy also getting tossed up in the air. Just one more shot from Joker would have done it. Tomsy keeps on healing himself up. Joker, Yoshi just hold the position for the power player to come in. And he's going to be waddling forward here in a moment. Ope now ready with the super. That's going to be the game-changing thing. Once again, attempted bounce pass around Salty. He's going all the way now. He's going to have to get through Yoshi. Nope, no opportunity. And the greed actually got the best of him there. Filippo wasn't going to be coming for support. It was just him versus Yoshi, and didn't even fire a single shot to Yoshi, who now has the Hypercharge Bear in.
Yeah, I mean, this is the thing. There was really no angle around the left hand. Oh, that's clipped Yoshi there somehow. Berry hypercharge available now. Going to go forwards onto Joker. Not find the connection as he dashes away. And OP's going to get knocked back and slow. Now Joker comes forward with his hypercharge. Hypercharge galore being popped right now by SK Gaming. And it might come back to hurt them. As now he doesn't have it for the defense, but Salty still waiting, holding this ball. Now dashing forwards. OP gets the ball, but going to quickly be killed straight afterwards. And a bear wasted by Yoshi, or it should be. He's not taking it down. It passed straight. How is this opening there?
Oh my goodness, a wide open goal and perfect timing from SK Gaming to pick up number 1. And OP's thinking about going for the dribble for the other one. Needs the alley-oop from Joker. Can't get it around Salty, who intercepts. Pass in the back right corner, and Joker still encroaching on this ball. On the right side, can't get it before Tomzy, but he intercepts the pass over to Yoshi. Yoshi decides not to use the hypercharge until now. Didn't want to get hit by that super from Salty. Filippo, no stun on a Joker, running circles around him with a hypercharge Stu super. Ope now eliminated, but Joker and Yoshi open it up to get an SK Gaming set.
I mean, that was very good from SK Gaming, but I can't help there were a few blunders in there from Supermassive that could have maybe been avoided. But overall, really nice stuff from SK. Great team play, wonderful passing plays towards the Primo, and OP did it himself sometimes. Just a very well-rounded SK Gaming game there. It was very, very nice. Stu was dashing everywhere. A lot of Nita Bears raining now. Good avoiding of those Frank Supers as well. And overall, Filippo was kind of hung out to dry. Salty did a decent amount, and Tomzy, solid healing, but it's just not enough to match up to what SK Gaming brought to the table.
Yeah, Trav, it seems a little bit more like the SK Gaming you were expecting to see in this matchup here. Tell me a little bit about what was familiar, what was their top quality play that you can see they're finally hitting their stride.
I mean, it seemed like they were playing a bit better as a team, to be honest with you. Like, overall, the passing plays, staying out the way, playing, you know, it just all pretty much wrapped up very nicely. We saw that goal that kind of Supermassive, it felt like they left it open. Joker definitely made some good plays to get there and be ready for the pass. So, you know, props to SK Gaming for getting into that position, and that's what I mean. They just, when they play better as a team, that's the SK Gaming we usually know.
You think they can hold on to this momentum, Ready?
I think it's possible. I mean, I just like the composition they had. I think PAPARA Supermassive actually had some pretty good momentum coming into this, and they look so good in game number 1, even though they did fall there. The reason that I think it started to fall apart there in game number 2 for SK to come in and grab the win is, well, PAPARA Supermassive, they got too greedy on a few abilities. A couple hypercharges used on pretty much solo missions that amounted to nothing. One that sticks in my mind especially is going aggro into SK Zenita. It was Maisie going into SK Zenita. There was no play for the Maisie, no chance of scoring a goal. Went for it anyway, just eyes on the prize and nothing else, blinded, I think, by the possibility of scoring a goal. Let's talk about Kaboom Canyon now, Trav, a map where we have a bushy mid that is a hot point of contest.
Yeah, it's very dangerous. Surprising to see that crow left open, as this is one of the maps where it's very good, you know, just in normal play, as well as being able to have that hypercharge towards the safe. So I'm sure that's going to be picked up someplace along it. Chuck's still available as well, which is kind of alternative to Melody. A little bit worse of an alternative, I will put in there as well. But we do see some long range down the sides quite often. Angelo going to be banned out, same with Piper. Juju, obviously. I mean, a lot of bush, a lot of water. Pretty much you can do everything on a map like that. It's going to be Penny to kick things off, though. Not the first pick that I would have expected, but it's fine.
I think so. I think there are plenty of positions that you can put the turret in that'll be useful. Also, probably won't struggle too much to get that hypercharge out there. Could be a huge game changer. Each shot from that turret is going to be 3,000 damage, so if you get your hypercharge out and all of a sudden, as long as it targets that safe, that's about the same as Colette is doing with the super, just to put things in perspective, because you get the double shot with the hypercharge. So SK Gaming, how do they respond? We're going to wait for their 2-3 to come in. Colette is one of them, the aforementioned brawler that's able to knock off 10% from the safe in a single super. Also has some good matchups in general, especially into like tanks and stuff. Just does a ton of damage. Hypercharge is going to get about 25% off the safe. Can be a win condition in numerous scenarios. Also looking to the Crow to show up, Trev.
Yeah, we kind of expect that, right? I mean, as you say, Colette's going to be very good towards that safe, getting the hypercharge off, getting a solid amount of percentage along with it as well. So, very good pick from SK Gaming. Ooh, the Jessie. Not what I would have expected, but against the Penny, it's going to be decent. You know, against the mortar, bouncing off that, bouncing off all the brawlers, finding people in the mid, and obviously the salty barrel as well, that Penny's going to be tanking so much with. And against the Colette, it's going to be tanking it. Jessie takes a couple of shots, and the Colette's free to reign.
Jessie's a major sleeper. There are counters to her out there. PAPARA Supermassive have their pick. Do they decide, is it worth it, actually, to counter out this Jessie? She has a hypercharge. She can do crazy damage with a hypercharged turret. Might even run pet power out here. Amber, just good into so many different things, especially the aggro, burn down the bushes, with a Crow as well. Could be pretty good. That Crow into Amber matchup is really difficult for her to win. Might want to be thinking about that. SK Gaming are pondering their final selection. Do they get something aggro in here? What kind of assassin, do they decide they're going to go for the Melody? Or excuse me, the Melody's been banned, but do they decide to go for like a Daryl that can roll across all the way to the enemy side? A lot of things left open. PAPARA Supermassive going to narrow it down with the Gale. That'll give them immediate passage into mid with a jump pad.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be good for knocking back the Colette as well, keeping her away from this this safe when the super's available. But not really what I would have expected either, to be honest with you. I don't know if they're just heavily accounting for the possibility of something like a Chuck coming forwards or a tank, and that's why they brought in the Gale, because that seems like one of the main reasons why they would. But SK Gaming, we do have their final pick coming in just a second, and it's going to be the Chuck. Yeah, I mean, as expected to come in at some point, just not really when the Gale was picked, and it kind of seems that's exactly what they were accounting for, and SK have gone, all right, fine, we'll just go it anyway.
Not too concerned about it. That's the benefit of having the final selection, is you know exactly what you're up against, and then you get to in a more educated fashion, make the calculation of risk. So Chuck now can go over that water, get the post laid down. I'm curious about how successful that's going to be for him. He's going to have to juke a lot. Potential of feeding abilities is going to be difficult. Into the Amber, not much you can do in terms of juking. For sure, into something like a Penny, into the Gale also going to be tough. Probably going to be running the slow Gale out here as well, just to run things early on. And a decision to not run the Twister, it is viable in some situations here, especially if you want to go like full defense, if Tomzy were to run that approach. And that is slow Gale, by the way. But Ope is playing this entirely behind the obstacle, not even trying to win a lane.
Yeah, I don't know who can blame him for it. To be fair, you're just going to wait it out, head for the safe when he can. Has the super now, moves forwards, tries to get another pull at the ready, but Salty had to use a gadget there to try and keep himself alive, rather than on the high save, which he's not going to be too pleased about, but still will have a lot in the bag for that possibility in the future.
Okay, getting the kill on a Tomzy. Potential also of placing this pull down. He eats the one at mid and places it now right on top of the safe. So the Chuck setup is down. PAPARA Supermassive do have their Penny turret. They're going to need to get in a bit of a safer position before they can make full use of it. Now getting ready for a big push onto the point. But Joker and Yoshi now already combining on the right side. Yoshi trying to get rid of this hypercharged turret. He's baiting the shots. Salty. That's sort of a... That's sort of a discount Melody right there, popping the gadget. Meanwhile, on the other side, PAPARA Supermassive are taking tons and tons of damage, but it's going to take more time for that to be pumped out by Ope.
Yeah, Salty, no gadgets left either. Joker hypercharged at the ready, and OP ready to go in when he does get it as well. This could be dangerous. Although they look like they're in the lead at the moment, SK control and all the kit that they have now, especially with the Jessie backing them up when they all try to collapse in and stop them from getting damage. You can see how further back PAPARA Supermassive are playing, just waiting for the defense, and that's quite surprising to see with 35% between the two teams. But we're just waiting it out, and with 45 seconds on the clock, SK are going to have to make a move at some point.
PAPARA Supermassive are going to have to make a move at some point, because it looks like SK Gaming had this one in the bag. As long as they stay in this position, Ope creates the aggression, everyone's forced to aggro onto him. Joker, probably just a couple shots away from getting that super. Locking in a hypercharged super that'll get at least 25% off the safe. If he hits more people, then he can even cycle out another super, which cements the win even more. Ope in. Defense. Pushback on a Joker. No one wants to feed him any sort of supercharge. They're all coming on the right side, staying away from him. Salty. Filippo pushed through on the right. Ope gets one takedown, but it's 28% on the other side. The clock is against both teams. Just a few seconds to go. SK Gaming at the last second managed to take it down.
Just about. Joker grasped that super at the perfect time to get that done. That could have gone very much the other way, as Supermassive were extremely close to taking down the save as well, but SK Gaming just managing to do it, and I believe that puts them on match point now as well, so that's not going to be the best of scenarios for Supermassive. But at the end of the day, they were very much in that game and still can win this set.
Entirely possible. PAPARA Supermassive looked pretty good for most of the game, but we already knew what was going to happen. SK Gaming were in a great position. Despite the best efforts of PAPARA Supermassive, they just could not avoid giving Joker a super. Now, we'll see a bit of a different start this time. Ope has already gotten the setup down, but this time Filippo doesn't have a super. Neither does he have a hypercharge. A much worse position for PAPARA Supermassive. Now they're working against the clock because it's only a matter of time before Ope kills that safe all on his own.
Yeah, he's going to be troopering forwards time and time again, just leaving the defending to his teammates, but Joker gets a nice bit of gotcha gadget value there. Filippo and Tomsy are just not giving up on this damage. Yoshi's going to die as well. He will shoot back and get that kill though, and re-enter towards the Supermassive safe. And Tomsy not going to be able to pick that one up against Joker, and the help from Salty won't either.
An opportunity also for a Salty to get a super laid down in the safe. He's got to fight through Joker and Yoshi at the same time. See also this turret, keeping things out of mid, but that's fine. Joker and Yoshi, they're just here to play D and let Ope do the thing on Chuck. If he dies, that's even even better. He gets to recharge that super when he respawns. But SK are forced to fall back. No one on PAPARA Supermassive dedicated to defense anymore. Filippo likely to fall. That's a Jesse turret to keep the Penny turret occupied, but Salty punches through on the left side, defended by Yoshi. On the other side, Ope closing in for the final bit of damage. He'll get this super out and drop it at just 10%.
Yeah, somehow he manages to make it out there, and Joker has the hypercharge, and this is going to be game. Super onto the safe, and that's it done. Supermassive sent home, and SK Gaming take the win and take the match.
Nice stuff, SK. They faltered a little bit in the beginning, and PAPARA Supermassive showed us good moments. They gave us a good match. They were on their way, it seemed, especially towards the end of set number 2. It looked like they might actually be able to get their first monthly final victory in a single match ever, because none of these players have managed to get a monthly final victory, or at least as a team, right? Tough stuff for PAPARA Supermassive, but I really like to see what they had to offer, especially against a roster like SK.
Yeah, tough stuff, as you said, Reddy, but I do wonder if they're feeling proud of this performance against SK. Definitely one of the most dominant teams in this region, and a lot of great moments to pack their reels with. But, Trav, your confidence in SK, unshakable, and the result, as you predicted. So how did they pull together there? A lot of great moments from Ope, but a lot of great collaboration from the entire team in that last game.
Yeah, I mean, it's as we all predicted. I think the majority of people will have said the exact same thing as well. SK Gaming just seem a bit unbeatable at the moment. Their qualifiers run, the Champions Invitational one, was just too convincing and dominating pretty much the entirety of EU at the moment. So, you know, SK Gaming, they came in as the top dogs and they go out as the same, in my opinion, still looking just as good as people will have expected. But Supermassive, they started very, very strong. Just unfortunately, they weren't able to keep their cool in the kind of 3 consecutive sets that they lost against SK Gaming, because I feel like there was moments in there where things should have come out differently.
Well, I will say, it was cool to watch them play, and as we take a look at the brackets here, we can see that each of our underdog teams did shake up the established order a little bit, no one leaving unscathed from the quarterfinals, but our semifinals are looking stacked as we predicted, and our humble Team Heretics match is going to be a banger as we start that off when we get back. Gentlemen, we've had so many great matches go the distance today. We've had such an exciting head-to-head every time. I hope there's more of that to come. We're going to check out some replays from this last match. We'll be right back with our semifinals.